All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be bringing you today's top weather stories, geophysical, vibe-related stories. One of the biggest headlines today was a cargo ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. That was a very unfortunate event, a very unfortunate occurrence, as there were some construction crews working on the bridge at the time of the impact, and search and rescue efforts are still ongoing. In slightly lighter news, the full moon is over, and we just have to look forward to our next part of the eclipse. Only a little bit lighter from bridge collapse. Eclipse season, yay! What else is some good news? I think I'm gonna dye my hair tonight. I might go live later on tonight, or I might record the video. I'm not sure which. Bleaching my roots, and we'll just see how that goes. Maybe I'll even do it on stream tonight. So let's get on with the show, shall we? All right, let's switch first to our volcano looks. And look, I figured out how to put a little text box on here. Next thing you know, I'm going to figure out how to do a little plug-in to make all the windows teeny tiny icons on the sides. I'll figure scenes out in OBS one day. Okay, so big volcano news today is that it looks like the activity in the Rearcast Peninsula is slowing down. They expect the lava flow to cease in the smallest cones soon, but lava flow continues to flow southward and to the west. Over the weekend, the lava already filled up the Mehels Namina, but the closer to the crater, the thicker it is. GPS measurements indicate ongoing swelling of the Svartsengi area, but at reduced levels. So, we'll see if that swelling is reflected on there. Oh, don't save this image. I just want to see Mount Ibu, still in Indonesia. Looks like it's had some explosive activity today. We had a volcanic eruption in East Java, Indonesia. We also have a volcanic ash advisory from Merapi here in the North Island of Ruapehu, the North Island of New Zealand, I believe. A series of small earthquakes has begun occurring. Small size quakes are often difficult to identify via seismic networks. A maximum of 6 such earthquakes have been. So it looks like we might see some new unrest in that area. The temperature of Crater Lake is relatively stable. Nothing unusual. Popo is still actively erupting beautifully. So is Fuego, Nevado del Ruiz, and Reventador and Sabancaya. This is a pretty standard from yesterday. I think technically we are up to 29 actively erupting. Oh, this is a picture of Mount Ibu erupting here in Indonesia. That's a beautiful image, man. I wonder what that would look like on the other side. Let's see. Now we are going to go look at our earthquakes. Hello, viewers. If you are in the chat, welcome. Let's see. I don't know how. Yeah, there we go. It's always confusing how to get this optimized. I still don't really quite understand OBS, but it is my fourth day on the program. I think I'm doing pretty well for day 4 of using a new software. And day 4, I mean, every time I record, I'm not really practicing with it. Hello, everybody out there. Let's switch now to our earthquake views. Yes, okay. So we are looking at earthquake 3D here. Let's make sure that we are getting everything from today's date. So I need to put on solar so that I know how far back my little clicker goes. Am I getting to 1 a.m. midnight? Yeah. Yeah, I'm back at 12 a.m. there. Okay, let's put magnitude on. So we see a 4.6 right here at the point of Pakistan, India, Indonesia. Let's see, who does that land in technically? That's technically, right there on the Afghanistan-Tajikistan border. Of course. Why wouldn't it be? That's a moderately deep quake at 215 kilometers depth. Another 4.5. See, this one was at 4:02 a.m. and shortly after at 4:58, we had a 4.5 at 10 kilometers depth. Down here in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, we had a 5.2 at 10 kilometers depth. We also see persistent 2 and 3 level earthquakes happening in the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico area. They've just seen a constant rumble the whole time. I'm not convinced that this isn't just getting all of the focused energy of the North American continent on it. Down here in South America, we have a 4.4. Where it's not letting me click on that. We had and that is a pretty deep looking one too. Let's see, will this let me see sphere today? For some reason, it doesn't want to show me sphere. It doesn't want to. Okay, there we go. So what's on the other side of these deeper quakes? Not you. Remember, we're looking through the earth right now. Not much on the antipode of that one. But again, interesting. Let's go back to, I like the night view of Earth. But then you can't see the, do we have plate borders on here? I don't care about legal borders. I care about plate boundaries. No, that's not what I want. Okay. Well, in any case, we had another very large 6.4 here in the Western Pacific. This time it was a 6.4 at 10 magnitude depth. Oh, buddy, it's refreshed and gone haywire here. But while we're looking at it, let's look at everything that is a magnitude 5.5 or greater. We had this 6.4 today. We had a 6.9 yesterday. Okay, what you can stop refreshing. Oh, geez, now I've broken it. Now I've really gone and done it. Okay, there we go. Back to today's quakes. 6.4 here in Fiji, as well as a 4.4, a deep 4.4 coming out of Tonga at 508 kilometers depth. We got 5.3 right here. Really looking like, and if you remember yesterday, this is where the 6.9 near 7 struck. So that is putting us at looking for the next one to strike. I'm not an earthquake predictor. They exist. People who predict earthquake exists, but I don't know how to do it. I'm just telling you what actually happened. 4.6 here off the coast of Java. We got 4.5, 4.6 all across the Philippines and Papua New Guinea. We had a 4.6, a string, Siberian Peninsula, the Bezmansky, I can't ever say it, volcano in Russia. We've got a very deep, actually, this was a very deep one. It looks very deep from the map, but it might be depth, might be exaggerated a little bit there. But in any case, we had a couple, let's see, this one, who is this right here? Oh, it's these. 67, why are those so? Oh, because they're, anyway. I don't like the color coding of the rings that I have on right now. I'll have to get better at these. These look really deep, but they're not. See, I don't know. I got to tweak Earthquake 3D settings to get them how I like. But I am on the paid version now because I support the creators very much. Thank you. Good job, team. Good job, team. 1.2 at 7 kilometers depth here in the middle of the country. That looks like somewhere in Missouri. And then a whole bunch of lower level quakes around the East Coast. But really, anything significant, we're looking at 2.6 here in northern Mexico. 3.0 here. I think that is on the Juan de Fuca fracture zone. Maybe. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Again, I wish I had the Icelandic earthquake data on here, but I am working on getting that on there. Really not too much to speak of in the Americas today. The big story is earthquakes over medium amount of medium-sized at medium depth earthquakes, except for this giant 6.4 coming up out of the earth. Maybe a little ricochet of that 6.9 we had yesterday. And tilt to the side. Whoa, look at that. Okay, now you can see the heights. Now you can see the significant increases in radar depth, density, heights. This is kind of representing the heights of the clouds, but it's not exactly the shape of the clouds because these look like mountains. But like over here, right over the center of the low, or right at the crux of the low here, we're seeing a pretty big spike. And then right at the beginning of the dry slot, we've got, or at the beginning of this dry line, I mean, we've got a nasty big super thunderstorm ripping through the Chattahoochee area. So the Floribama, Georgia area is getting hit pretty hard with some severe weather right now. Oh, it's so fun to look at things in 3D. Okay, let's take a look at further north, up here in Pittsburgh, or no, I'm sorry, up here in the Great Lakes region, we've got continued winter storm Sawyer going on. That is this one that is persistent through, been very persistent through Minnesota and Wisconsin, now more on the Canadian side of it. But there was a really sharp temperature gradient here today. It was like 19 degrees in Duluth and then 50 something degrees over here near Detroit. Just a really, really steep temperature gradient, and that is what's feeding a lot of this circulation at this point, because it's gotten cut off from its other moisture sources other than the Great Lakes. Let's see. Let's go out west. Again, not looking at much really scattered precipitation, especially elevation based. Yeah, cool feature I just learned how to use on here. So let's take a look at some video of these cells. I don't think there's that much cape. I don't think there's enough energy to get them spinning good. But those are still some nasty storm cells here. Just passed through Quincy, Bainbridge, Chattahoochee area. What's that song? Some song, the Chattahoochee. There's a country song that talks about it. Well, that's what they're talking about. That's the area we're talking about having some very severe thunderstorms right now. Been kind of a rainy, miserable day throughout the south today because, as you can see, we've got motion of the clouds going in the same direction of the tilt of the line of storms. So we're not just getting a sweep through like this, we're getting a moving up and sweeping through, and that makes it not really a line where it would just go, let me draw on here. Rather than experiencing the storm in this axis, people are experiencing the storm in this axis. So as you get out of the rain, more rain is coming. I don't know how to make that clearer, but I'm going to figure out more metaphors. If you do, I feel like that makes sense. But basically, if the storm is moving in the same direction of its long ways, if it's going hot dog instead of hamburger, like when you're talking about folding hot dog or hamburger, when the storm has has winds that are more in the hot dog component, then you get longer rain events because there's longer times where there is rain over one area. So it's been actually, I mean, even though this looks like kind of a dinky little scrawny squall line, this is actually for much of the mid-Atlantic and southeast. Also a very significant rain day and snow day up here in the Great Lakes region. Let's turn on winter weather to see. Yeah, okay. I want to show you winter weather in 3D because that's very cool. Nice pink gradient of where we're getting freezing rain. Nice blue gradient in there where we're getting snow. Really looking like, if you aren't, if you're in, what is it? Green Bay, Lance, Lake Superior, anywhere, the Thunder Bay, Duluth. If you're in those little notches, those northern bay notches, that's where you're going to see a lot of snow today. So let me go back to 2D, and I'm going to leave this on in the background with no frontal analysis. Can I do that? Oh, I can't remember where the fronts are and where to take the frontal analysis off, so I'm just going to leave it zoomed in on this little area for now. This Apalachicola region. From Apalachicola to Chattahoochee, that's where we're looking at some severe storms tonight. Okay, next, let's go to our solar weather. Okay, let's go back to our browser and take a look at our solar weather. Maximum X-ray flux of the last 2 hours was M1.11. We had an M1 today. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 different M-class flares today. They've all been about magnitude M1, and that is in an R1 potential to cause an R1 radio storm. These have been mostly from 3615, that sunspot group that we've been watching with the really weird configuration. Let's look at how weird it's gotten. Okay, this is 3614. Not even not weird. Pretty nice if we didn't have this thing to look at. What on earth? This sucker is gnarly. That's gnarly. You can see the motion in even the still, and you can see as you like. Oh shit, that's not gonna do what I want. It's going to load pages weird. I was going to say, even if you zoom in really closely on these, you can see how they look like ink blots and concentration flowing away from the source, diffusing outward. That means there's a source in the middle of the darkest regions that is flowing outward. Yeah, let's reset the zoom. That is still a nasty looking area, and I am not surprised at all that we're seeing a lot of activity from it. Let's look at a image of that today. Do I have a... Will it show me this one? Yeah. This is the region right there if you want to look at the contrast image. I bet it'll show better in color. Hold on. Yeah. Look at this right here. Spreading out, stretching out, kind of pulling itself away. There's almost like 3 main areas where there's the blue centers and 2 main areas where we've got the red centers, but still, I would call that infected looking. If that was your wound, you would think it's infected, you know? Let's take a look at what our flash bulbs looked like today. Our solar flare. All kinds of activity, all kinds of beeping and buzzing and zapping and booping and sparkling. This is like one big machine whirring, whipping itself into a frenzy. And don't those look like cracking whips everywhere? I mean, honestly, it's like the crack of a whip when we release these filaments. And that looks like an unstable filament right there. This looks like another hole potentially forming there. Let's see if it looks like that on here. Yeah, we've got filaments forming all over the surface of the sun that could really launch themselves if they got enough juice underneath them to destabilize them. This one looks really complicated and gnarly. You can almost see it's like a Tesla coil. It just keeps on arcing. Let's see. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, these are the flares, guys. These are the solar flares you're feeling. Speaking of feeling, let's take a look at our overview to see where our protons have landed. Still got elevated greater than or equal to 10 mega electron volt proton flux unit. We've got, what is that? We're hovering at right around 2.466, and 10 is a storm. So we're not, I mean, we're not back to normal levels, but we are a little less than the other day. A little less than when we were up in S2 solar storm range. So that should be good for people who are sensitive to solar weather. Let's see. And that was at the same time that we had this pairing of a southward tilt in the magnetic field. I wonder if that shows in any of these stack plots right after 2. Kind of, not quite. Okay, so that is our space weather. Oh, I didn't even look to see if we had any big CMEs today. No, we had several. We had 7-ish. And this was from yesterday. Not horrible. Let's take a look now at our planetary weather. We've done our solar weather. Now we're going to move up from the solar system, from the sun to the solar system. Okay, it is currently a Mars day in a Jupiter hour, and in 8 minutes it's going to be a Mars hour. So get ready to do stuff. starting with Mars. Let's start with Mars and Pisces, making a rough 7-degree trine to the moon in the tail end of Libra here at 26 degrees. It's also, what else aspects? I think it's just, that's about the only aspect Mars is making right now, and it's about to be in an even more favorable. Well, I'd say the moon in Libra might be. I think there's Venus is ruled by, or Libra is ruled by Venus, so the moon would be in better condition in this rough moon. Takes things a little personally in Scorpio because we're going from a Venus ruled sign in a and Venus is in her joy in Pisces, so Venus is doing pretty well now. So the moon in a Venus ruled sign is doing pretty well. Once the moon moves into Scorpio, a Mars ruled sign, it's probably not going to be having so much fun. It'll also move into an immediate square with Pluto, and we're already applying to that square as it is. So, tense aspect there, but I think if we do our beauty stuff tonight, we'll be fine. And hopefully we won't be too emo about it by tomorrow when the moon gets into Scorpio. Okay, Venus is currently opposing Black Moon Lilith. There is some interesting feminine archetypes for you to dive into if you are looking for finding your Lilith in a Virgo way or finding your inner Venus in a Piscean way. That could be some nice myth and narrative to jump into right now. And she's just separating from that conjunction with Saturn, so maybe not as weighed down, but also maybe not as constructive. But with a nice sextile to the applying Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I'm pretty sure she's going to stay in the Venus and Saturn and Jupiter and Uranus energy is going to stay constructive for a little longer than it would otherwise because those are in favorable looking signs to each other. Also, Venus also rules Taurus, so these guys are extra looking at Venus, like, Venus is looking at them like, y'all behaving in Taurus? Am I going to have to manifest some nebulous art in the physical reality to keep you Jupiter and Uranus activities quelled and calmed and soothed? Cooling, calming, balm, sweetness. Sun just about to separate from its trine to Pluto in Aquarius and moving into, for my natal chart, some interesting aspects, but for the collectives, I mean, we're solidly in Aries season. We are going to go into Mercury retrograde on Monday, April 1st, cosmic April Fool's joke. So this is probably our last weekend of Aries season to have that confident, stretched out Mercury. Yeah, the sun is going to be getting closer and closer to the Mercury Cazimi, and that only happens when Mercury reaches out. There's a whole thing. Let's see. Learn to balance the essence of masculine and feminine with Mercury. Mercury has perfected non-binariness. Mercury is ascended, and we are in a descended form of evolutionary life where Venus and Mars energies are separate, but Mercury is how we dwell in both and create most effectively together. So there's a whole lot of symbolism there. I'm not going to get into it today, but I will get on my non-binary mercurial rant soon. Trust and believe it's probably going to be around the time Jupiter conjoins Uranus here in the third decan of Taurus, because that is where my Sun and Mercury are, and I'm going to talk about it. Gosh dang it. Okay, now let's go back to... let's go to... pick a card. I don't want this reading to be too long, but here goes. And from the tarot today. Oh, that is too many to pick. I'm not reading all of that. I'm sorry for you or whatever. I'm happy for you. I'm not reading all that. All right, that's better. All right, we got the 9 of Wands reversed. Remember how we got the 9 of Swords reversed the other day? These 9 reversals... I don't know, guys. What do you think they're trying to say? It's got a guy with a bandage on his head. He's not carrying way too many sticks, but he's like, oh, look at all these fucking sticks I got. What am I thinking? Sorry, open myself up. We need to do some inner healing, some self-work, some reflection on what we've worked really hard on already, and decide if we're happy with where we've put all of our efforts so far. Taking stock of what part of that process hurt you, what you had to leave along the way in order to get where you are accomplishment-wise. Is it really all worth it, all the actions you've taken? This isn't just thoughts and words and feelings. This is actions you've taken, and you are almost there at the end of a journey with that. And this is not as much about an outward thing as it is an inward thing. Are you happy with the choices you've made and what they've done to your body? And are you happy with what your body has done to the world? Goes both ways. Now the liminal space deck. Take whoever jumps out. Remember, this is a cosmic reading of the cosmic weather for the weather beyond the solar system that is coming into our sphere through chaotic, etheric, spiritual, and even physical ways. Okay. So, this one is kind of sweet with the 9 of Wands reversed. Yes, studio, you gotta stop disconnecting and reconnecting. There is no use for forgiveness in nature, only balance and interdependence. The lion does not begrudge the antelope for escaping a hunt, nor does the herd resent the lion for hunting. However, this man-made construct is the key to your wholeness, both as the forgiver and the forgiven. Justice is not a theory, but rather a force of the universe, perfect and inevitable, and not your responsibility. Withholding, asking for, or granting forgiveness based on subjective notions of who does and does not deserve it creates a false operating system of the workings of this universe. Running alongside that is the truth, which is that all actions have an equal and opposite reaction. This has nothing to do with forgiveness, but everything to do with the capacity to forgive. Harm begets harm, love begets love, anger begets anger, forgiveness begets forgiveness. If we are willing to accept this energetic law as fact, the path ahead is clear. Defer to science and return the course of nature back to nature. Waiting on an equal and opposite reaction to determine your feelings about a situation will leave you small and stuck and eventually sick. Let go of the heaviness and address the open wound underneath. Find a way, because the reality is you are already forgiven, as is everyone. Truth. Spittin' truth, the liminal space deck. You are spittin' truth. I feel like this is such a strong, strong combo of healing and beauty. And this is also giving me Venus conjunct Saturn vibes, if I'm not mistaken. And I am glad that I accidentally left the natal wheel up there because I think that's pretty. Food or something. I mean, who am I kidding? I did all of it. I got fast food. I got hair bleach. I got the Prozac. I'm trying everything to get through this Aries season, man. You know, Prozac, hair bleach, new eyebrow pencil, Bojangles. Is this mental health? Hey, forgive yourself for maybe overindulging and overspending. It's already forgiven. It's already what happened. All right. All right, Cosmos, what is the third part of this message? Oh, it's this one, I guess. It's the same one as yesterday. I'm not even mad about it because it's a very beautiful ending to this passage. Through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to desire. Through the corridor of my joy, that's the corridor of your joy, is the pathway of my desire. Most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with the determination that I will not settle for less than feeling good. Get that forgiveness from yourself, from others, from the universe. Give that forgiveness. Do that deep reflection. It's okay. It really is okay. It's gotta be. It's not like they're good and bad or real. It's all comes out in the wash. The wash being this mortal coil. It all comes out in the wash of this mortal. Self, let go and let yourself be joyful, and you will figure out what you desire. When you go down the path of joy, you will figure out why that's the path that makes you joyful. That's the whole thing. So forgive yourself for whatever reason that you think you don't deserve to be joyful, and allow yourself to go on that pathway of searching out what you truly desire, examining your own motives by finding what gives you the most joy. I'm not saying be hedonistic for hedonism's sake. I'm saying, and it's not even me saying it, I'm just saying, it's not just about the act of pleasure itself. It's about how pleasure is very valuable information about your human vessel and what you're supposed to do with it. All right. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for coming to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Seems like this video and all the other videos that are going very successfully technical wise have gotten so few views. But when I was over here talking with no sound for an hour the other day, I got 47 views. I've got 2 right now. So let me know in the comments down below if you think I should fake more technical difficulties to boost engagement. Honestly, I'm not. Engagement makes me interested and happy, but I'm not doing this for engagement. I'm doing this because I need to get this stuff off my chest. This is kind of very much my video diary, but video diary of this was the vibe of the day. And I do mean the vibe because I'm talking about the weather. Yeah. Okay. Love you guys very much. Have a great evening. Bye. Bye.